On August 10, 1989, just outside the city of Proladnia, Russia, a strange, unidentified flying object was detected by military radar. The craft was thought to be an enemy aircraft heading toward Moscow and was immediately shot down by the military. After plunging into the mountains, the Soviet military approached it and soon came to realize that the object and the beings they would later find inside were not of this world. In this episode, we will explore this mysterious Russian UFO case. On August 10, 1989, Soviet soldiers would spot a strange object on radar flying around the city of Proladnia, Russia, in the southern part of the country. The Soviet military believed the UFO was a foreign adversary, such as the United States. As a result, all defense systems were put on high alert. The object was headed north and potentially toward Moscow or another large city. This led leaders to quickly believe the UFO was hostile. The Soviet leaders would then issue the order to shoot it out of the sky. As a missile was released, it tracked the object and directly hit it over the Caucasian mountain range located in southern Russia. To investigate the crash, an Mi-18 helicopter was deployed and the military established a wide perimeter around it. The UFO had crashed outside Nizhya Shegem, and soon several additional teams arrived. The soldiers noticed the craft was around 20 feet long and 10 feet tall. It was oval shaped, and the craft had landed on some rocks, and the military would detect radiation at the scene after some time. As a result, only soldiers who wore radiation suits were allowed to enter the scene. After an initial assessment, the object was airlifted by several military helicopters and dropped off at Mozdok Air Base. Security clearance was needed to enter the base as it held top-secret weapons like nuclear bombs. After the craft was dropped off, a special team was formed to investigate the object. It consisted of both military and non-military personnel. As they examined the UFO, on it, there was a partially open door that the team decided to go into. As they entered, the men encountered 3 aliens. 2 of the beings were killed in the crash, while a third laid severely wounded. A team was called in to try and help the being. Unfortunately, they were unsuccessful and the being perished. On first visual inspection of the beings, they looked like typical gray aliens. They were light gray in color, short, around 3 to 4 feet, with large black eyes. However, as scientists started examining the body at a later time, it was discovered the outer portion was some sort of biological suit. As the gray skin was pulled back, the scientists were stunned to see a greenish-bluish color. The beings appeared to be reptilian in nature. After this event, the bodies of the 3 beings were put in a top-secret facility while the UFO was moved to another site. It is said the disc now resides at Kapustin Yar, a renowned Russian rocket complex. This report was compiled by a team of Russian UFO investigators, Anton Anvilov, Lenora Azizov, and Alexander Mosilov. While it's easy to dismiss the report as fraudulent, it's important to point out that in 1989 the Soviet Union was a highly centralized and controlled government. As a result, information was controlled, and the press was limited in what they could print. Many didn't speak up on events like this for fear of reprisal by the state. Once the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, we began to see the press start to cover events more openly. It should be said, though, in 1985, Mikhail Gorbachev was elected president. He advocated for freedom of the press. For example, in 1986, He introduced the policy of glasnost, or openness, in the media. However, this was still relatively new, and many in the press and those that had information were still not willing to speak out. Russia has a rich history of strange UFO cases, and these are just the ones we know about. For example, on January 29, 1986, in Dalnogorsk, Russia, a silent UFO, described as a reddish sphere, flew over the sky and crashed into a mountain. Dozens of people witnessed this strange event. Another incident is the Voronezh incident, which occurred in 1987. At 6:30 p.m., several boys playing soccer saw a pink glow in the sky. The ball circled the park they were in and then disappeared, reappearing a few minutes later to hover over the park. A crowd of people around the area saw the object and rushed to the site. Then, a hatch opened in the lower part of the object. Through the opening, people could see a three-eyed alien about 10 feet tall. The alien was wearing silver overalls and bronze-colored boots, along with a disc on its chest. What can we make of this case, though? Most of what happened in the story leaves little doubt around the events. We would expect the military to shoot down a UFO that invaded Soviet airspace, especially during this time. We would also expect that the military would overtake the area the UFO crashed in. In addition, it makes sense that they confiscated the UFO and took it to a military installation. Perhaps the strangest aspect of this case has to do with the aliens themselves. The beings appeared to be small grays, an alien type reported in a large number of UFO sightings and alien abductions. Many have speculated that the small grays are not biological in nature, but actually robots. They are often thought to be the foot soldiers in the alien hierarchy and disposable. The fact that the report says that some type of reptilian being were the aliens is surely a fascinating one. There are some who speculate on the presence of a reptilian race, but all too often, reptilians are dismissed as conspiracy. Based on the thousands of UFO reports we've read, we believe there are multiple alien races that have visited this planet. Being the biggest country in the world by area, it's clear that Russia, formerly the Soviet Union, has a treasure trove of UFO secrets hidden somewhere. It could be the case they have more than any other country in the world. Let's hope one day these cases are released into the general public.